everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. My name is Amélie Darchicourt. I'm a senior PMM for Microsoft Entra, and I'm joined here with Irina Necheva. And we're super happy to kick off this awesome series about the Microsoft Entra Suite. We have a lot of content to share with you, so let's jump right in. I want to kind of share a little bit of information about our series. So over the next 4 weeks, we'll introduce you to the Microsoft Entra Suite, and you'll get all the information you need about it. We'll show you how you can leverage this new offering to secure access for all your employees to all types of apps and resources. And so today, Irina is actually going to start with an awesome overview of the key capabilities and scenarios and use cases that you can unlock today with the Entra Suite. And then we'll have more product experts who are going to join us for deep dives into each of the scenarios. We'll also have a lot of demos. So you'll be able to see how to simplify the identity lifecycle management with the suite, how you can replace legacy VPNs with better ways to secure access to on-prem apps. And finally, we'll also take a look at how you can leverage the suite to secure access to internet resources. And of course, at the end of each of those webinars, we'll have an open Q&A with speakers and other experts. So you can already start posting all of your questions in the comment section of this page, and we'll answer all of them right after the presentation. And so with that, I'm happy to let Irina kick off this whole series. Irina, over to you.
Thanks so much, Amélie. Hello, everyone. My name is Irina Necheva, and I'm a General Manager of Identity and Network Access at Microsoft. So all of the products on the Microsoft Entra product line. And today I'm going to talk to you about my favorite topic, how to ensure access for any user to any resource from anywhere. Most of us have lived the benefits of digital transformation, cloud technologies, and now the AI wave. Also, most of us in cybersecurity have been terrified at least once about all of the new access points that those technologies introduce. And I'm sure that everyone in the audience would agree, this world demands a new security approach. With the growing number of applications, access points, and remote work, most organizations see that identity and network become their most attacked surface area and the first line of defense. In fact, 84% of cyber attacks include internet exposure, and 66% of cyber attacks include insecure access credentials. The most common identity attack, password attacks, continues to intensify. In the last year, we've seen that it's jumped already to 7,000 of password attacks per every second. And that's up from just 4,000 a year ago, and it continues to double essentially every year since we've started monitoring it. And with the growing adoption of security solutions like multi-factor authentication, we also see an increase in sophisticated post-authentication attacks. For example, token theft attack has more than doubled in the last year. And those are some of the trends that shaped our vision for Microsoft Entra, our comprehensive family of products that simplify how you can secure access for any identity to any resource from anywhere. This means protecting access for your employees, contractors, partners, and even digital workloads, and making sure that this access is protected to any resource, from SaaS applications to legacy on-premises applications and files, and open internet and AI. And also making sure that this access is simple and secure from anywhere, be it from within your corporate network or over the open internet. You can adopt Microsoft Entra in stages, and to make it easier, we've developed this maturity framework. So first, you start with the most foundational line of defense, Zero Trust Foundation. That's where you do things like multi-factor authentication or conditional access. Next, you deploy the full set of zero trust access controls for your employees so that they can access any resource from anywhere. Next, you enable similar zero trust access controls for your customers and partners. And finally, you would need to protect access for your digital workloads and increasingly AI. And now let's map Microsoft Entra product family to those stages. So I hope all of you are already using Entra ID and you have adopted our foundational protections like conditional access and multi-factor authentication. Hope all of you are using phishing-resistant authentication. And then if you are on that journey already, then adopting Entra Suite to secure access for your employees is the most logical next step. And then Entra External ID can help secure access for customers and partners. And Entra Workload ID can do the same for applications and digital workloads. And of course, we're building Copilot skills in all of those stages so that Copilot can truly become the daily companion for every identity and network security professionals. And then how you sequence those stages really depends on the business priorities for your organization. The important thing is consider them all as you're going through the transformation of secure access to enable the AI transformation wave. But today, we will focus on the second stage of this framework, which is secure access for your workforce with Microsoft Entra Suite. The unique thing about Entra Suite is that it's the only complete zero trust user access solution for your employees, which makes it simple, effective, and powerful. It includes 5 deeply integrated products. Entra Private Access. It replaces legacy VPNs and extends multi-factor authentication and conditional access to any resource. Entra Internet Access is our identity security solution that protects against the threats of the open internet. Entra ID Governance ensures least privileged access to any resource. Entra ID Protection prevents identity compromise with real-time assessment of user risk and sign-in risk for every request and every user. And then Entra Verified ID makes it possible to verify people's identities in real time in a privacy-respecting way. Because all of those products have been built as one deeply integrated solution, Entra Suite makes it very easy to protect your employee identities and secure their access to any resource, regardless of where people choose to work, from office, from home, or on the go. And while we believe that this solution has many benefits, I would like to highlight the top 4. First, it unifies the access policy between identities, endpoints, and also now networks. Second, it enforces least privileged access to any resource, including AI. Third, it simplifies the user experience for accessing any resource from anywhere. And fourth, it reduces your on-premises security solution footprint and helps you modernize and simplify security. So now let's dive deeper into each of those areas. We'll start with the unified conditional access. Conditional access in Microsoft Entra is the access policy engine that is at the heart of our zero trust architecture. I hope many of you are already really well deployed on conditional access, and we hear from your peers all the time that conditional access is a real essential component of their zero trust deployments. They love how it checks numerous conditions, including location, endpoint, context, and user risk, and then allows very granular access controls. But what is also true often, organizations that adopted a modern networking solution, they also have another conditional access policy on the network layer. And usually different teams configure those policies, and then different solutions help enforce them. So policies may conflict with each other, or they may also leave some access points not fully protected. Well, with Entra Suite, you don't ever need to choose one policy over the other or worry if there are any gaps in that coverage, because you get one unified policy that reasons over identity, endpoint, and network. And this enables very powerful new capabilities. First, you can now extend continuous access evaluation to any application, including even those shadow IT applications that you don't even know are in use in your organization. This means that for any application or resource, if there is a change in access condition, let's say a change in location, you can immediately revoke the active user session without any delay or requiring any action from identity or security operations team. And that can be really important in preventing a potential compromise. Next, it extends conditional access policy to the web destinations and legacy on-premises resources and those shadow IT applications that you haven't yet integrated with single sign-on. And conditional access itself becomes much, much richer. We have also added a compliant network condition that essentially only allows access requests that are coming from your network and blocks all others. And then, as we're enabling all of those new access controls, you can start doing things like restrict or monitor access and even require very sophisticated type of controls like just-in-time access to the web destinations. Two products that extend conditional access to the web traffic and on-premises applications are Microsoft Entra Internet Access and Microsoft Entra Private Access. So Entra Internet Access is our identity-centric secure web gateway that protects employees from threats of the open internet and filters out malicious and non-compliant content. And it also extends conditional access to the internet destinations. Entra Private Access is our identity-centric zero trust network access solution that replaces traditional VPN and enables granular, modern user-to-resource access controls for all resources, including legacy on-premises applications. And one more product that makes conditional access even smarter is Defender for Cloud Apps. It's our cloud access security broker product. Together with Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps, Internet Access and Private Access deliver a complete security service edge solution from Microsoft. And what's really cool in the Microsoft Entra Suite is that you can also see the impact of all of the protections that you deploy in Entra ID Protection Dashboard. So for example, this chart shows all of the blocked threats that were remediated in real time before they actually become the compromise. So there are no security incidents that happened. All of them were stopped in their track. And what is also pretty cool, often it's really hard for identity team to show the impact. With this dashboard, you can really show to anyone in your organization everything that you have prevented from happening. And of course, ID protection does so much more. Its really critical value is that machine learning that helps analyze and detect user risk and sign-in risk for every sign-in request. So now you can set those risk-based access policies that enforce different controls for the different risk levels. For example, you can require phishing-resistant MFA for accessing sensitive resources for any risk level. But for less critical resources, let's say your organization's cafe application, you may require MFA only for the high risk. Now, let's explore how Microsoft Entra Suite makes it easy to enforce least privileged access to any app or resource. Managing user permissions is a headache for many organizations. Different application owners use different approaches to managing access rights. Many processes are manual and also disconnected from HR systems. So as people often move roles or even leave organization, they end up with the access that they shouldn't have. And often it's also actually really hard to get access that you need to have. Well, with Entra ID governance, you can automate and unify how you manage access rights and lifecycle across all applications, including on-premises resources. Plus, you can use cloud HR systems as a source of truth about the employee data so that whenever user status changes in the HR system, you can immediately change their access rights across your entire environment. For example, if they move departments, they will lose access to the resources they had in their prior department that they no longer need, and gain access to other resources, depending on what they need for their new job. That brings me to one of the hero features of Entra ID governance, which is entitlement management. It allows you to create access packages for various roles or even projects to ensure that only the right people have the right access to the right access packages, and they do so with the right approvals. And then you can maximize the power of entitlements management by combining it with the lifecycle workflows. This way you can automate join, move, leave scenarios and make it easy to give people access to the right access packages when they join or change roles, and make sure that access is immediately revoked when they change roles or leave. And then an additional layer of control that you can leverage over access permissions is access reviews. This means that you can periodically ask people who are accountable for different teams, groups, SharePoint sites, applications, and roles to review who has access to what and confirm whether they still need it. And we all know how much fun those access reviews can be. Sometimes you get this email and there's 1,000 people on the list, and some of them you know, and some of them you don't. And it's very easy to miss people who shouldn't have access. So to help reduce that attestation reviewer fatigue, we're investing a lot in the machine learning that makes it very easy to get intelligent recommendation of where an access can look like an outlier, and make sure that you focus on those outliers. And then beyond just governance, with Entra Suite, you can extend the least privileged access principle to also web destination and enable scenarios that can only be possible by combining identity and network security. So we've connected web filtering policy with conditional access. So now you can apply granular web filtering policies to different web destinations. For example, you can block some web categories, let's say gambling websites, for all users. Then you can enable access to only some groups of users to certain other categories. Let's say social media websites would only be available to people who work in your marketing or customer support functions, but won't be available to anyone else. And what is truly unique, you can also enable just-in-time access with approvals for specific web destinations. For example, you can require just-in-time access to external storage websites so that they can only be available on as-needed basis. Now, let's shift gears and talk a little bit about making user experience better while you're making your organization more secure. And I'm sure all of you would agree there should never be a trade-off between ease of use and security. Security can only work when we make it easy for people to do the right thing. One of the immediate benefits of adopting a unified user access solution with Microsoft Entra is a consistent user experience with single sign-on, consistent authentication patterns, and one end-user portal to see all available apps, including legacy off-premises apps, to all resources. And this experience is also consistent for both corporate network access and remote access from any location or any device. We also invest a lot in a self-service tool, and with those self-service tools, anyone in your organization can easily request access they need, view their group memberships, review their security information, and access any other identity-related services. And a great example of how Microsoft Entra simplifies the user experience is Face Check and Verified ID. Face Check enables high assurance verification of a user's identity by comparing their real-time selfie with a stored photo, such as a photo stored within your own directory or photo on a government-issued ID. You can even use Face Check to streamline remote onboarding by moving paper-based identity verification processes online. Or you can add Face Check into your self-service recovery processes for passwordless accounts, and this will reduce help desk costs and help prevent misuse of the password recovery process, which is increasingly becoming another attack vector used by the bad actors. And now, let's actually take a look at how all of the benefits of Microsoft Entra Suite come together in this reimagined end user experience. So in this journey, we're going to follow Violet Martinez, who is an employee at Woodgrove, through several role change and project change initiatives. So now let's switch over to demo. So as I mentioned, Violet has just gone through one of the big life changes. She changed her role, moving from the marketing department into the finance. And we're going to follow her journey as she ramps in her finance role. So in this first demo, it's her first day in the finance team, and we're going to start in this application dashboard. And here you can still see all of the marketing applications that she had access to. And now, thanks to the join, move, leave workflows on her first day, she doesn't need to do much. She receives the welcome email from her manager, and all she needs to do to get started is click on this link in the welcome email, and that link takes her immediately to the My Access page, where she can request access to the finance team applications. But because finance team deals with a lot of very sensitive data, before granting access, their policy requires that Violet does the real-time identity verification to get that access approved. And they built it as one very simple online process. So here, Violet gets presented with the QR code, and she can complete that entire flow now with the verified ID. So she's going to go into her Microsoft Authenticator app. Here, you can actually see all of her verified credentials, including here, verified employee card. So now she's going to scan this QR code. And in real time, this flow is going to require her to do a real-time facial matching with the employee photo that is stored in her employee file. And the cool thing is she can do everything here from her phone. So she's just going to take a selfie. And after she takes the selfie, what is going to happen, the verified ID is going to enable a real-time facial matching with that verified employee ID photo. But the cool thing is that the biometric data is never going to be shared with Woodgrove, right? It's only the confidence score that Woodgrove is going to get. So verified ID does it in a very privacy respecting way. So here we're going to share it with Woodgrove. In real time, her identity has been verified. So we'll just add business justification, submit request. And based on the existing policy, Violet's request is auto-approved. Now we'll go back to the My Applications page. And you can see it completely changed. So now you can see all of those finance applications that she's going to need in her new job. And remember those marketing applications? Well, all of them are gone because she no longer has access to those applications. All right. Now, a couple of weeks have passed. Violet is ramping on in her new role, and she's getting a new project. And as a part of this project, she will have to comb through some really old, I think about 20-year-old archives. And because those archives are old and very rarely used, they haven't been modernized, so they're stored on a legacy file share. So previously, getting access to something like this would be quite a journey because it would probably take Violet a while to figure out how to get access. And most likely, because those legacy resources are not protected with modern security controls like MFA, she would have to be on the corporate network to even be able to do her job. But Woodgrove is a very modern organization, so they enabled modern secure access to even those resources. And she can do it from the comfort of her home. So first, she is going to go and get access to this particular set of resources, right? So we go to, again, Access Packages page. So she's going to search for the right access package. And again, request it, add business justification. And again, based on policy, her access is going to be auto-approved. So now she is going to go into that file share. Click here, and funny fact is until we started working on Microsoft Entra Suite, I even forgot what those file shares look like. And I'm sure there are people in the audience who may have never seen what the file share looks like. But what is happening here, because Violet has been traveling, because she's also trying to access this sensitive file from her home, Woodgrove wants her to do multi-factor authentication before granting access to the file share. But the cool thing is the whole experience is going to look exactly like it would for any modern application, right? So there's no cumbersome VPNs. It all feels very familiar to Violet. So now she's going to choose here her passkey as a multi-factor authentication. That again gives her a QR code. We're going to go to her their app on her mobile phone again. Scan the QR code, and very simple. Then she's just going to choose to sign in with the passkey. And this is done, right? Like passkeys make phishing-resistant authentication so simple. She has now done the multi-factor off, and she can access the file share, and she can get going on the project from the comfort of her home. Now, Violet has just one last thing to do. As a part of her job, she collaborates with one of the Woodgrove long-standing consulting partners. And that consulting partner is looking for some documents from her, and they've asked her to upload those documents to the secure Dropbox location. But the thing is, actually Woodgrove requires all of their employees to only use SharePoint and OneDrive for sharing and collaboration. And in this case, this is one of very, very few partners where they allow an exception because they have a very long history. So they do allow just-in-time access to those external storage files on a Dropbox, but only for the finance team. So let's see Violet's journey here. First, she clicks on the link in that partner email, but she cannot actually get to the Woodgrove, right? Because of that standing policy that they're required to use SharePoint and OneDrive for collaboration. But she knows they have an exception for this partner, so she is going to request just-in-time access to Dropbox. Again, she's going to look for the right access package, which is here, Finance Dropbox Access. Again, she's going to add business justification. And because of the standing policy, again, her request is auto-approved. So now Violet can go back to that email. She's going to click on the same link. Now that link is going to take her to the secure location. She can easily upload the files, and she's over the finish line. Now that you've seen how Entra Suite makes employee experience so much easier and so much more secure, let's also touch on the fourth benefit of the suite, minimizing your dependency on legacy security tools. And I'm sure all of you know that legacy security solutions, they were great for their time, but often they just don't scale to the needs of the modern cloud-first, AI-first environments, and then they can also be quite expensive to maintain and manage. So Microsoft Entra is designed to extend modern security controls to on-premises resources so that you can operate your hybrid environment securely and modernize at your own schedule. With Entra Suite, you can secure and manage your assets from the cloud and retire multiple on-premises security tools. For example, if you're using traditional firewalls or VPNs, Entra Private Access can give you much more granular access controls to those legacy on-premises resources. If you're using a legacy secure web gateway, Entra Internet Access delivers a better solution to protect against the threats of the open internet. If you're using Microsoft Identity Manager, you can transition into Entra ID Governance and even reuse your existing MIM connectors. And of course, with Entra ID Governance, you can replace any of the legacy identity governance and administration tools as well. And then finally, you can also replace some of the cumbersome paper-based identity verification processes with the real-time and privacy-respecting approach powered by Microsoft Entra Verified ID. So we've covered quite a lot. So before we close, let me do a quick recap. If there's one thing that you remember from today, I would love for you to remember that Microsoft Entra Suite is a complete zero trust user access solution for your workforce. It unifies access policy across identities, endpoints, and networks. It extends least privileged access to any resource. It simplifies user experience, and it reduces your dependency on the legacy security toolset. Amazing teams here at Microsoft and with our partners are available to help you secure access for your workforce to any resource from anywhere with Entra Suite. And now I'm going to pass back to Emily to share with you what's coming next in our webinar series.
Thank you, Irina, for this really awesome overview of the Microsoft Entra Suite and all the key capabilities and demos. So we're going to switch over to a Q&A with other product experts. But before we do that, if you already want to have more information about the Entra Suite, I highly recommend that you take a look at our documentation on Microsoft Learn. Here you'll find a lot more details around like the key scenarios and how to even deploy the solution. You can also even start right away with a free trial of the Entra Suite. And obviously the Entra blog or tech community is the place to go if you want to stay informed about the latest product announcements and news that we have to share. So coming up in our next webinars, we'll take a deeper dive into each of those scenarios and also share the admin view with some pretty awesome demos on how to use the Microsoft Entra Suite. And now a few of our coworkers, Martin Kotzers and Marilee Turskek, are going to join us for a live Q&A, and we're going to answer all of your questions. So stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Amelie, and I hope you enjoyed this awesome presentation by Irina. In case you missed the beginning or you want to rewatch it, don't worry, it will be available on demand. So you can just go back to this page, this event page, and you'll be able to find all the presentations as part of this webinar series. So with that, I'm super happy to have also Martin and Marilee here to help us answer all of your questions. We already got a lot, so we'll jump right in. But before that, Martin and Marilee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, thank you very much. So my name is Martin, and I'm in our customer experience team, and I help many customers around the world to test these products and deploy these products. So I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. Marilee?
Hi, I'm Marilee. I'm also part of the customer experience engineering team, and I help customers deploy Entra Suite products. And I'm also excited to be here and hear what feedback we have from customers.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here. All right, so we'll jump right in because we do get a lot. First of all, I see a question. I think, Irina, that would be probably for you. Question is, why did you combine identity and networking products together in a suite?
Great question. And, you know, those categories have existed as two separate categories for a long time. But what we have also seen is that each of the teams, whether they're working on protecting identities or they're working on protecting networks, ultimately are working on the same goal. They're trying to protect access to resources. And increasingly so, when people were looking how do they best protect the network, they were concluding that they want to be identity-centric. And in essence, each of the teams is trying to manage the access policy. And historically, often those teams worked in silos. But as organizations started to adopt those zero trust strategies, it became more and more obvious that all security teams need to work together. But those two teams benefit the most when they really look into their access controls left to right for any resource from anywhere. And when we were building Entra Suite, we really built all of those products to work as one integrated solution. We have one unified access policy to make it much, much easier for those teams to collaborate and have this holistic defense.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Irina. All right. I see also a lot of questions on how to get started with the suite. So I think the first one that we should start with is pretty much it's going to be what are the prerequisites that are needed in order to get started with the Microsoft Entra Suite. Marilee, maybe do you want to take this one?
I'd love to. So a Microsoft Entra ID P1 license is a prerequisite for a trial, and Entra Suite itself requires a Microsoft Entra ID P1 or P2 license, but we also have generous free trial options to get customers started for really common scenarios such as onboarding user and lifecycle management, modernizing remote access to on-premises apps with MFA per app, and securing internet access and VPN replacement scenarios that include app-level MFA based on business needs. So we have a lot of generous free options to get customers started for 30-day or 90-day trials.
That's awesome. And I think a question that comes right after this one is, what if I'm a P2 customer, so Microsoft Entra ID P2 customers? Can I get the suite? Marilee or maybe Martin, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so this is actually very important for customers to know that we have many customers out there that already have P2 or they bought E5, which includes P2. So if you have those licenses, we do give you credit for that because it includes specifically ID protection in that license. And so we give you a discount. So if you look at the web page where we host the Entra Suite licensing information, we give you a $3 discount on the per user per month price for customers that have P2 or E5.
Sounds good. Another question we get is there's 5 products within the suite, right? So what if you're a customer, you already have one of those 5 products, let's say ID governance. How does that work if you want to upgrade to the suite, let's say? I don't know, Martin, Irina, or do you want to take that?
Yeah, so again, if you have any of these products already deployed, then you should consider, like, if you want to have more than one of these products, like 2 or 3 of these products, then it actually becomes a really valuable proposition to get the bundle, to get the whole suite, because you're going to start saving money instead of buying those individual products. So that's obviously a great thing for customers to do, is to say, okay, I have ID governance, and that is costing me today maybe $7 per user per month, but I'm really interested in the private access capabilities, or I want to deploy the verified ID solutions. I'm serious about making sure that people, when they access my resource, that I can verify their identities. And then, buying those things individually, the cost adds up. And so eventually you have to say, well, it actually makes more sense to buy the Entra Suite. So in that case, you switch over and you get the Entra Suite, and then you can save a lot of money.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. That's a very good point. We do get a lot of those questions around, pricing and how to get started. So thank you so much for all of your inputs. Another question I see is, I think it's kind of like the next step, right? So again, right, 5 products, lots of workloads in the suite, lots of value. What is the best way to deploy the Entra Suite solution with all of those different products? Irina, do you want to maybe start with some inputs around that?
On deployment?
Yeah.
It really depends on where you are on your journey and what use cases resonate the most. What are your business objectives? I hope most of you are already far along on using conditional access and adopting multi-factor authentication. So what we see with the modern threats, looking into how you extend conditional access controls to all of your applications, especially how do you protect your on-premises resources and replace legacy VPNs tend to be one of those very high impact use cases. We've also seen a lot of customers see very quick time to value with adopting lifecycle workflows because it automates and simplifies a lot of processes. It actually makes user experience a lot better. And what is also awesome, actually, within our identity customer success engineering and with our field organization and with our partners, there are so many people who can help you look into your environment, your use cases, and decide what would be the most impactful way for you to get started.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Go ahead, Martin, please.
Yeah, I just want to add, we actually published a trial guide a couple of months ago that gives customers a few quick wins to get started with the suite as well. It can be overwhelming. It's a lot of products, but there's a lot of immediate value in the trial guide. And so like one of the examples that we give there is just ID protection. ID protection can give you immediate value because you can start looking at what are those risky user behaviors and figure out if somebody is being compromised or doing something strange. And you can look at the dashboard. You saw the demo in the presentation that Irina did. And this is something that you can get going immediately. And then you'll see in that trial guide that there's many other things that we also list as things that you can do, like access reviews. Access, maybe you've lost control of all your groups in your environment and you don't know should people still be in groups. And if you enable access reviews on those Microsoft 365 groups, you can get control of those groups. So that's another way that you can get value from deploying the suite very quickly in your environment as you plan out maybe the more difficult things in your environment to make sure you're doing absolutely the right thing.
Awesome, thank you. And just as a reminder, right, like those trial guides, you can find them on MSRN. It's at AKMS/Entra Suite trial guide. Thank you so much, Martin, for all those details. We are getting a question also about verified ID. It's a very popular product, really cool scenarios. And so the question is, could you provide some insights into the use cases for verified ID? We've yet to find a use case where we could use verified ID instead of simply using passkey for identity validation. Marilee, maybe do you want to start with this one?
Sure. Yeah. So one amazing thing about verified ID is it actually uses the AI facial recognition technology. And so you can apply it to documents in a way that's new. And you can even use it for, say, your team's profile image. There's a scenario that we have a demo for account recovery using a team's profile image. So it really opens up a lot of new possibilities for making it simple for folks to prove their identity.
Yeah, definitely. And it's verified ID and especially face check, right? Like it's really a capability you should consider when you need like super high assurance, right? A scenario where just the strong authentication MFA is maybe not enough, and then you need that extra step of verification. Awesome. Thank you so much, Marilee. I have another question here, and maybe Irina, that would be this one for you. How do the Entra Suite products integrate with other Microsoft security products or other security products?
You may have heard from us many times before. The way we're thinking about security solutions from Microsoft is that they're all built to work together to provide end-to-end protection. And in fact, we do have a lot of integrations across the portfolio. One of the great examples is Martin already talked about the identity protection, having all of this real-time detection and real-time remediation of user risk, but then all of that same understanding of the user behavior and user potential compromise gets consolidated with the rest of the defender signal. So when you're doing your investigations, detection and response, all of the Defender and Entra products, and now also Purview products, bring their signal together to give you the most complete view of the incidents. We're also building very specific use cases. One of my favorite examples is now you can combine conditional access with adaptive protection in Microsoft Purview. And adaptive protection in Microsoft Purview tells you whether somebody in your organization can be a potential insider. So it does the assessment of somebody's insider risk is low or elevated. And then you can apply conditional access policies based on their elevated insider risk, right? So if somebody's risk goes higher, you can say, well, I'm going to limit their access to read only. And there's so many scenarios like this. Again, both our teams and our partners will be happy to help you connect more and more dots to help your teams collaborate better together.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and we also have all these new AI Copilot capabilities that is popping all over the product. So you will see that the AI capability to show, for example, the risk of the user will give you that insights to delve deep into what is happening into specifically what that user, and also what is happening on the Microsoft Defender side. So all of these signals come together, and we basically make the product richer in that way.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. And that's actually a perfect transition to the next question, because we do get questions around AI. And so we have this question: what AI features are included in the Entra Suites? Irina, do you want to maybe share some details around AI with the Entra Suite?
Absolutely. I think when it comes to what Martin was talking about, Microsoft Security Copilot, I would note that this is a consumptive or pay-as-you-go product that you can just get started, and you can start trying skills in any of the Microsoft products, and that's a very easy way to get started. But what Entra Suite delivers is a lot of underlying functionality that Copilot can tap into. One of the great skills that we already have for you to try is co-create those lifecycle workflows together with Copilot. That's much, much easier way to get going and to create all of the relevant workflows for your organization.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, I think we're getting close to the end of this Q&A, but I want to ask one last question. And actually, I do see this question a lot, so I think it's a good clarification. Is the Microsoft Entra Suite available for GCC and GCC High? Martin, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so some of the products inside of the suite is available in the government clouds, like, for example, the ID governance part that is currently available. But the other products, we are actively working on getting that certified. So it's not a question of getting it created or deployed in those clouds, but we have to go through a rigorous certification process to make sure that we meet the requirements of those secure clouds. And this is on its way, so it will soon be available there, but some of the functionality is already available, like ID governance.
Yeah, and the team is definitely working really hard on that for
Yes.
sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Martin, Irina, Marilee. I think that's the end of our Q&A. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I hope you really enjoyed the session in this Q&A. Again, we have another webinar. This is just episode 1 of this series. So we're continuing next Thursday, February 27, where we're going to jump into one of the scenarios that we covered today, that we gave an overview today, which is easy onboarding for your employees. So please join us again. We'll have another Q&A also next week. Again, thank you so much, everyone.